1940s have been a decade of breakthroughs and developments in medicine and psychiatry. Scientists have developed a new technology to cure mentally ill adults. With the use of electroshocks, the minds of sick patients are being wiped clean, giving them a fresh start. On this blank slate, physicians then imprint a new, healthy personality.
Remaking people, shocking them into obedience. This is a story about that powerful idea. In the 1950s, it caught the attention of the CIA. The agency funded a series of experiments. Out of them was produced a secret handbook on how to break down prisoners. The key was using shock to reduce adults to a childlike state.
It's a fundamental hypothesis of this handbook that these techniques are in essence methods of inducing regression of the personality. There is an interval, which may be extremely brief, of suspended animation, a kind of psychological shock or paralysis. Experienced interrogators recognize this effect when it appears, and know that at this moment the source is far more open to suggestion, far likelier to comply than he was just before he experienced the shock. The subject should be rudely awakened and immediately blindfolded and handcuffed. When arrested at this time, most subjects experience intense feelings of shock, insecurity, and psychological stress. The idea is to prevent the subject from relaxing and recovering from shock. Isolation, both physical and psychological, must be maintained from the moment of apprehension. The capacity for resistance is diminished by disorientation. Prisoners should maintain silence at all times. They should never be allowed to speak to each other.
En 1977, una investigación del Congreso descubrió el programa MK Ultra de la CIA. Un experimento secreto de 20 años para dominar el arte del control mental mediante el uso de drogas muy poderosas. Miles de experimentos ilegales con pacientes que recibían LSD o heroína sin saberlo.
Allí está. Siento colores encantadores vibrando sobre mí. Oh, es encantador.
Los pacientes eran sometidos a hipnosis y a privación sensorial. Todos realizados para aprender a controlar la mente humana. Para comienzos de los años 70, era claro que la humanidad no estaba lista para alterar su propia y compleja mente. Y el notorio programa se desvaneció en la historia.
Operation Midnight Climax is part of a larger top-secret CIA program called MK Ultra. The goal, learn how to control and even reprogram people's minds. The CIA believes LSD might hold the key. Over the next 10 years, the agency doses a cross-section of the American public. Everyone from unwitting housewives to soldiers, to even criminals like gangster Whitey Bulger is tested.
You know, what the CIA really dreamed of was sort of like a drug you could give to someone, get them to commit all sorts of unspeakable acts, and they wake up the next day and they don't remember what they've done.
They were looking into brainwashing, they were looking into mind control, they were looking into how they could create what they called Manchurian candidates. They were trying to figure out if they could get people to go out and do things that they would ordinarily not do, like assassination. They were trying to figure out if they could get people to go out and do things that they would ordinarily not do, like assassination.
MK Ultra is a CIA program started nearly 25 years ago to control human behavior through the use of drugs, electric shock, psychosurgery, and other rather sophisticated techniques. The The CIA now says it has discovered documents relating to the program that apparently were not filed in the right place. Acting under the Freedom of Information Act, a former State Department official, John Marks, has obtained a number of other documents on MK Ultra. He made them public today. Bill Downs has that story.
I think all our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. You know, and I think that's what I sussed when I was 16 and 12 way down the line, but I expressed it differently all through my life. It's the same thing I'm expressing all the time, but now I can put it into that sentence that I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends, you know. If anybody can put on paper what our government and the American government, etc., and the Russian, Chinese, what they are actually trying to do, you know, and what they think they're doing, I'd be very pleased to know what they think they're doing. I think they're all insane, you know, but I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that. You know, that's what's insane.
From the night, I was standing there with a gun in my pocket.
Knew you were going to shoot him?
Sorry?
Knew you were going to shoot him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tried not to, praying not to, but knowing down deep it was probably going to come to that. And then he wrote his name, John Lennon, and then underneath that, 1980. And he looked at me, as I mentioned earlier, he said, "Is that all? Do you want anything else?" And I felt then and now that he knew something subconsciously, that he was looking into the eyes of the person that was going to kill him. John came out and he looked at me, and I think he recognized, here's the fella that I signed the album earlier. And he walked past me toward the street, turned, withdrew my Charter Arms 38, and fired 5 shots into his back.
Were you relieved?
Before, everything was like dead calm, and I was ready for this to happen. I even heard a voice, my own, inside of me say, "Do it, do it, do it. You know, here we go." And then afterwards, it was like the film strip broke. I fell in upon myself. I like went into a state of shock. I stood there with the gun hanging.